Right, getting everything set up. All right. The current time is
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
oh, haha, I'm Stanley. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
This isn't creepy at all. Oh. Right. Why does this feel like a back room?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Hello? why the other clock says 10.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Get Chris out of the broom closet. Ongoing. Huh. Oh, God. Hey, here, Bethany. That's solid right there. Oh, that sounds right. Wow, this is interesting.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
The question is, am I supposed to be following directions? Oh, this is posh.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, Unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
What the fuck? Definitely is some backroom shit. What is this? I have to go in here? Oh god, it's dark.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
What the fuck is all this?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Do I really though?
Nope. Still on board with death?
Nope. I don't think so.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
You know, this is all pretty fucking weird.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
I mean, if this is Walmart, yeah, sure.
No,
shit all the time.
he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
People do it every day.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
I'm gonna do what? Is this?
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're going to die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
Oh, my
dear
fucking
me, what's
God,
the matter,
bro,
Stanley?
why?
Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the
Fucking
moment
do
I
it!
say,
Blow me
"You're
up! Fucking do it. Better than mind control. Oh, fancy that. We start from the beginning. Tisk, tisk. He wants me to go out this door.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yep, that's exactly what you want me to do.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Alright, how do we activate the cargo lift?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this.
My
to reach
fucking
out
God.
to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Get out of here. Oh my God, bro. What have I got myself into this time?
Oh, Stanley, is that that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Oh my god, you piece of shit. There's really nothing I can fucking do. Oh my god, bro.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
I'm gonna hit everything else but. How about that? Ha ha ha.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Oh my god. There.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
I have no other choice.
Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Why can't I go into the next room?
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions, and down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Fine, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to
I
convey all
told
this to
you
him.
guys I had the fucking boat.
I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again.
Who are you talking to?
And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
This game is a fucking mindfuck, and I'm. Oh my god, bro! What the fuck is this shit?
What are you playing?
The Stanley Parable.
Oh yeah, it's a mindfuck. You want to take a gummy and play it?
Yeah, let's take some shrooms. What the fuck happened here?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
But why? This is another creepy fucking room.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way. No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning.
Oh, come on!
Suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I swear to fucking
When
God.
Stanley... Wait, what? No, No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
I'm the writer of my own story. This is my story. What the fuck, bro?
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again.
Please don't.
But it's got to be better than this.
No, please.
Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not? All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
This is stressing me out worse than Fortnite. And that says a lot.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Whoa.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations.
I'm confused, bro.
Okay?
Like,
I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
God damn it. Not again.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
That's not taking me the right way, though. It's not the right way.
No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
Oh my god, there's no other choice. Solitaire, haha. Funny.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, Are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood. Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
What the fuck about a fern? Jesus Christ. Oh, fuck that shit.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Still missing the doors. Did we make a mistake following the line? Perhaps we could have found the story on our own.
Fern, and then everything keeps on changing. I'm not gonna play with you either. You can fuck yourself. Oh my god! I don't want to. My fucking god. This is like, what? Is in my brain.
No, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you...
We already know what this room is, dude. I wish you could fucking hear me. My god.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
But we've gone this way.
Yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley,
fucking way.
I'm ready for it.
Oh my god, bro. I'm gonna lose my fucking shit. You can't be fucking serious. You can't be fucking serious, bro.
Yeah, right. Lick my ass crack, motherfucker. Good night, homie. Love you.
No fucking way. You can't.
You have to figure out what is forward and what is back and how shit changes. There's little changes to each time that you gotta notice what to do. And you're on your own on this one.
Donnie?
Nope.
No, this is nothing short of a mind fuck. I need a cigarette. He has restarted me like 3 times. I should have just escaped when I had the fucking chance. Except for he's like, oh, a certain death. I ended up getting blown up.
No, not you again. Stanley, I'd also
I'm
like to
having a
veto the
cigarette. Fuck
line
this
from
shit.
having any role in our
I'm
awesome
taking a
new
break.
story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Seriously, yeah, it could be like 5 minutes. I'm gonna lose my shit. Oh my fucking god, bro!
Lol, are you arguing with the narrator?
Yes, I am. I wish he could fucking hear me though.
This looks a bit like the back rooms. Should I be paranoid?
I
Yes,
love you.
the answer is 100% yes. This is the back rooms, and I am fucking pissed. I'm having a cigarette right now. I'll be back. I shouldn't be smoking, but like, fuck, this is stressing me out. Alright, I'm coming back. I'm gonna, toke a little bit because I'm kind of stressed. Um, but I'm pretty sure the narrator is Stanley. I think that's what the twist is. I could be wrong. Oh, I don't even have my bowl in here. Fuck. Whatever, bro. Let's press forward. I'm going insane. That's exactly what all this is. I'm going crazy.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Yeah, please don't.
And the time return stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
Oh, God, please. Restart something.
So,
oh, my God.
Okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Surprise! And it's still... My fucking God, bro.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Back at the office.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
50th
simply missed a
time.
memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Working
Yet
class
there was
night
not a single
Mercury.
person here either. Feeling a wave of
For real.
disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
This... Oh, my God, is ridiculous.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Nope, we're not. Not this time.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in
Oh my god, bro, not another fucking
no
loop.
reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations.
And there's a narrator at all times.
Why couldn't he see
What
his
in the
feet
Thomas the
when he
Tank
walked
Engine?
around?
Right?
Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming!
Clocks are
he
actually
yelled.
ticking this time.
This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
What?
Then
No.
he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
What? Exactly,
Now
what?
the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke...
Because you're on strings.
Right?
Of course, this was not a
Something,
dream.
man. This,
How
oh
could it
my
be? Was Stanley simply
You have a hand up, you.
believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin.
Sue, how did the car get there?
Mattress on his back.
exactly.
The fresh air of
I have
the
no
world
clue.
outside this one. Let me wake up.
I don't even
he
have my
thought to
bowl in here.
himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over.
It's fine, babe.
Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please. It's all I want. I
I'm gonna
want my
restart again.
apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
It's a wonderful life after all, lol.
Precisely.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who
Reincarnated.
stumbled through town talking
Right.
and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life.
Yikes.
She had no time for this.
Exactly.
So it was only a moment that she stood there,
That was
staring
not
down at the body.
expected.
And then she turned and ran.
What? What just happened? Surprise, surprise, I'm back. Wait, no, I'm not. What?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
See, this looks like... odd.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Yep. We gotta go back here because,
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered.
An infinite loop with certain ends.
He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
okay, so putting on all the wrong combinations did not do anything.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct
LOL.
code by sheer luck. Amazing.
Yep.
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
We're gonna do this song and dance again. I still got a trick up on my sleeve though. Thank you. Down this creepy ass elevator again.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
I don't care.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Uh-oh.
At this point, Stanley was making
what I
a
said the first
conscious,
time.
concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
I'm
Fuck it.
bracing myself, lol.
I had to try it.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was a
Fatality.
loss, like
Right?
taking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Do it. I mean...
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated, as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet,
narrator got fired.
Before Stanley would
so.
restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
This is so trippy. Oh, I never saw that part. What?
I have these thought processes in the shower.
Right? This is just craziness. The real question is, how do I get out here?
Oh, so this is showing the options you had.
I believe so. But this game is such a mindfuck. No. So many hallways and...
Now look closely, Stanley. See how it's impossible for the player to do anything in this room? Perfect example of poor level design, textbook mistake. It's the kind of thing you'd pick up on intuitively if you had even the most fundamental understanding of good and bad game design. But of course, you being you, you'll probably spend the... I'm just going to make this easy.
Yeah, let's get out of that room. That's enough of that. Yeah, the monitor room and elevator.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another.
Why does the voice remind me of the teacher from Boy Meets World?
Exactly.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Oh, I get it. Lol, go touch grass.
Right? There is a way that there is an ending.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Exactly. What does that mean?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Man, I'm probably not.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
I can't jump, though. Oh, I can. What am I doing? Yep, we're gonna jump. Jump, 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 jump.
Lol, the Google Chrome sound.
Right?
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Please don't. God dang it. Oh, nice.
And death, don't forget death.
Right? Same office. This is different.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Uh-oh.
Right? This is surely different.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Yeah, anytime I hit X, that's what it sounds like, keys.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched?
Oh my God.
Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Wow. That's all I have to say is wow.
Yeah, Minecraft was legit back then.
Yeah. That's
And
true.
over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where
Now
so
it's
many
full of
games
new
that
crap.
aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art. Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every
My daughter,
game
she's
ever
been
created.
hooked
Did you
on all
hear
the
that,
horror
Stanley?
stuff in
Every
Minecraft.
game ever created. That's how grand and
All
all-encompassing
she does
the
anymore is
original
Minecraft
Stanley
and
Parable
Roblox.
was.
And she's
It
15.
was
I'm just
literally
16.
every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
That's what they're playing on nowadays, horror.
Yep. I've done some horror Roblox crap with her.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect.
I'm sort of feeling this narrator's pain. Things used to mean something back then.
All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition
Right.
along to the PlayStation. Boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
I mean, that even goes for like the early 2000s and stuff when I was a teenager. It's just like, stuff actually, like, meant something. Like, I'd buy fucking CDs and listen to them, like, non-freaking stop wearing them the fuck out and shit. And that meant something. Now it's like you got Spotify and it's just, it doesn't fucking matter, you know? You just don't have the same appreciation for things.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's being collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well.
Everything is a service. We don't own anything we download now. I miss the CDs.
Right? And a lot of people, it's like, you felt like something if you had a collection of DVDs and shows and stuff. Now you got streaming services. It's getting to the point where you're not going to own anything anymore. You know what I'm saying? You're just borrowing it. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I still do buy media. I mean, I don't have a CD player in my car, but like I bought some DVDs and stuff just because they were that good. But it's like anymore, it's just who does that? Nobody has DVD players anymore.
I think that's where the world is headed.
Yep. Where they don't want you to own anything, they just want you to keep constantly spend money for it. And then we're gonna read the scathing reviews.
Honestly,
That's what
I could not be bothered
matters.
to play this game to full completion.
Keep paying and paying.
Obnoxious and unfunny,
Yep.
with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating
Slavery.
than entertaining.
Modern day slavery.
Funny? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
It's like there's a show called Sliders back in the early 2000s, and one of their parallel worlds they went to talked about commercialism, where you basically worked for credits, and if you're in like so much debt, it's like you were just basically a wage slave. Which is basically how today is. I mean, you could never get a freaking head, and no matter how hard you try. It's like being a hamster in a wheel, you know? It's constantly running to no end. That's what this feels like for sure.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record.
Looking at what's going on in the US now, we're headed for an oligarch dictatorship, and they aren't building prisons for no reason.
Isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
The only thing I have to say about that, it doesn't matter who's in charge.
Button.
We're headed that way, period.
Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that.
Because there are no
If I'm truly
sides.
too
It's
preachy,
all
then,
one
then maybe
entity.
letting you skip ahead
People
for
don't
just
see
a
that.
moment, surely it couldn't hurt.
But if you actually look,
Not if it means
it's
we can
staring at you
strike
right in the
these
face.
negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time. Oh, you're back.
Yep, it's been in the working since before I was born.
But it was plenty of time for me to deliver a
I'm
long,
sure.
rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto.
There's been
Look,
some days
I'll
I'm just
outline
like,
it
I
for
wish
you
the aliens
very
would come and
briefly,
take me
you can
away
tell me
right
what
now.
you think. Okay, so my theory
For
is
real.
that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your great gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first, I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto. Heavens,
Oh
at this rate, we're
my
going to be here all
god,
day. Okay,
dude,
look,
you want
I
me
have
to
a method
bash
for
my
exactly
head
this
in the
sort of
wall.
situation, and I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
Yep.
You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's...
Dang, the tea died.
how it's always been, right?
Tree.
Right?
Talking, and
And,
saying
look
nothing.
at this.
Would you think
The
that
time
it's
keeps on changing.
exactly the same as always?
So time
Doesn't
has
that
passed.
feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking?
And at the beginning of the game, I actually had to put the actual time in.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you.
Sounds like everyday life.
Well, that's annoying.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up.
I mean, there's literally no freaking doors in here. How the fuck am I supposed to get out? How did I even get in here? The tree's long been dead.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Nope, I'm not listening to this. Oh nice, there's a whole bunch of water leakage now. Is a room going to fill up with water? I can only hope. Ah, question answered.
Oh, you're gonna drown.
That sounds very ominous.
Oh, it stopped.
Oh yeah. This is insane. So years and years are passing? Yeah, it's pretty. What the fuck happened now?
Killed the dinosaurs.
For sure.
Next is Ice Age.
Right?
Or the end of time.
That's what I'm wondering. Is this Doctor Who? I mean, I'm probably gonna have to go back in the bunker just to fast forward. I mean, there's nothing. It's a nuclear fallout. Oh.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
Is it actually 11:20? No, it's 10:37.
Yup, jump out the window.
Man, if I had that choice, I freaking would. Nope. I can't. That is one choice I have not made yet.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I don't remember these
Roll
being
new
here ever.
content.
Right? I almost regret not going that way. But it seemed like that's where they wanted me to go, so we can't be doing that.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
And it's unnerving because you can't see outside, but you can hear it.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all?
Oh, I know.
This was too
Patoyo.
much for Stanley to take.
I knew
Too
his
much
voice
for
was
any man to
familiar.
take.
Right?
Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story
Yes!
as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
Pato
That
and
kind of
Ellie.
anxiety isn't healthy.
Oh my
so
gosh.
he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
My oldest, she loved that show so much.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
That is wild. I would have never, oh my god, I would have never thought of that. That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
I already know what this is.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their
That's what
true
this
nature
is.
revealed. Each bore the number of an
I'm
employee
there, right.
in the building,
427.
Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this
We're
place
in the Matrix.
where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once. blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty.
Suicide?
Was it over?
Well, see, initially, I left everything on.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine.
And the place detonated.
Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved.
I don't
Where
care,
had
just let
his
me out.
co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's...
He turned the game off.
What other mysteries did the strange building
Right.
hold?
Go touch some grass,
As
Stanley.
sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Farewell to the narrator.
Oh, yeah.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Ta! Got the trophy, beat the game. Get your first trophy earned. Those are... How many trophies do I have with this stupid game? Alright. Progress, 18%.
Party popper, and now you're back because you're still on schedule for tomorrow.
Play the Stanley Parable for the entire duration of a Tuesday. Complete the Stanley Parable in under 4 minutes and 22 seconds. Don't play the Stanley Parable for 10 years. Test trophy, please ignore. Oh my god, the trophies are freaking crazy. And this
Someone
was
was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them.
That's a trophy.
Yes. See, the funny thing about this is I got it free. If you're a PlayStation Plus member, you get it free. And this surely was worth money. That just freaked me out. Sorry.
Oh, I'm about to run downstairs and fire it up.
Right? This is so trippy. It doesn't play the same way each time, I'm sure. This is my first playthrough. But it is just so wild.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Yeah, even my husband was just like, man, I'm gonna have to try this out. And I'm like, it's gonna drive you crazy, honey. It's driving me insane.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further.
It's a lot of tracks, so you have some more stuff after this.
The Stanley Parable.
Oh, yeah.
2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different
Heavenly
directions.
choir singing.
This is what fans have truly been
Right?
asking for.
Oh my gosh, man, this is some wild stuff.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2. Now
Once I get done with this stream,
statement
Bad.
right there.
right?
It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising.
And so modern.
I'm definitely saving this stream and putting it on YouTube. This has been a wild ride for sure. And I haven't even seen all the variables yet. Wow.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts,
Who took the
that
red
surely
marker?
the game
Me.
will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
I will have to say the graphics have been pretty outstanding throughout the whole game.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Merch.
Like jumping.
Right? I was gonna say, you don't know what my name is.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Sure.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim...
Where is Pam and Dwight?
That's what I was thinking!
Deeply. Are you really,
I was
truly
like, can I
Jim
marry
right
Pam?
now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
I mean, that's perfect. Yeah, I'll be Jim. He was funny.
Jim.
Yes! You you see? What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it again.
Jim.
Oh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money.
Jim made the show lol his facial expressions.
I'm too emotionally drained from all of this
And
personal
the pranks
validation.
he did on Dwight, man. Oh my
Whoa there,
God.
cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much, Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
I mean, yeah, Dwight was a good character, but Jim was my favorite. He was just so freaking hilarious. I also like Stanley, personally. Why, he had no fucks. He's like, I'm here to do my job and get my money. And I'm like, facts.
I suppose
That's what
I
I
could
do.
allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
A free trip. Yeah, let's get a free trophy. I can't believe it's that simple. It can't be.
At the end of the game, right?
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology
so.
to simply give you the trophy. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world.
That's where epilogues usually go.
Right.
Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Yep, otherwise it'd be a prologue. Jiminy Christmas.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet? Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
So you don't even get a trophy for it. That's funny. That was that.
God, it
All right.
really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
All right, let's try out the black hole. That sounds like fun.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's
Let's
right.
do it.
Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
Why? What are you afraid of? Let's just keep on falling.
Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite?
Face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even
The
more of my
last
ideas for the
moment.
sequel.
There, that's for you, Plague. We'll go back in the hole.
Okay, and I guess we're back in the hole now. Did you really need to see it again? I don't know
Yes.
what else there is to say, Stanley. It's an infinite hole. It's
Round too low.
but forever.
Yes.
There really are so many other fascinating exhibits that I've prepared for you. I really spent quite a lot of time on all this, and I would very much like to show you some more of them. How about we go ahead and press that teleport button again so we can get back to what's really important about... Oh, goodness. Well, this is rather embarrassing, Stanley. I'll be honest with you. I truly did not believe that anyone would actually stay in the hole long enough to hit the bottom. Yes, I know, I told you the hole was infinite, but come on. Who actually wants to fall forever? The hole was plenty deep. It was more than deep enough, in my opinion. Maybe it's you who likes falling too much. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there.
I'm dying low.
Said some things we didn't mean. Why
That
don't we
was
just
funny.
put
I had to
all
do
this
it.
behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
I mean, if it was truly that freaking deep, I'm sorry, I don't think there'd be that much light coming down here. Just saying. There's a lot of light. It should be dark down here. But, well, I don't know. Mostly infinite. Wow, that was fast.
Pull out game cancelled low.
Alright. Oh my gosh. I can't go that way. Well, what other exhibits are there? That's pretty much it. Oh, new content, the jump circle.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
I just got a trophy for that. I can't jump. Oh, that's funny. Okay, I was gonna say, is there an exit? Will you let me exit? That'd be sweet.
Oh, goodness, Stanley, this is fairly awkward. I hate to do this, but before you leave, you really should go to the bucket exhibit. You see, there's a surprise I was going to spring on you later, and it involves the bucket. And I really do hate to break the illusion, but it's important that you go see the bucket, okay? All right, I'll get out of your hair now.
What bucket? Ah, there's the bucket. And then there's office decorations. Nice.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution.
Just don't kick it.
Than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable.
That's
Can
so
you imagine
true.
what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
I was gonna say, you gonna let me touch the bucket?
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Alright, I guess I get to keep a bucket. Nice. Reminds me of Sea of Thieves. Let's go bail some water.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
The button that says Jim. Alright. Okay. I was gonna say. I thought there was an exit. Why am I hearing other people's voices?
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
They really have a second one? Well, seeing as I gotta get up at 5:30 in the morning, I guess we will continue this some other time. Tomorrow I'll be playing Sea of Thieves, so maybe tomorrow night I'll give this a shot. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. This was the weirdest freaking video game I've ever played in my whole life. Alright, and that was the Stanley Parable. Yep, it's not giving me any other options but that, so I'm gonna test something. Close out and